Hey there, in this video, I'll be reviewing the Wanhao Duplicator i3 version 2.1. First off, I want to say that the unboxing experience was extremely polished. The printer came with 3 parts, 2 for the structure and 1 control box. Everything was wired up and essentially assembled, so it took me less than 10 minutes to figure out what to do and put it together. My first impression of the printer was how sturdy and professional it looked. A full metal frame with a neat control console is a steal given the price of this machine. It also came with a full set of documentation printed on high quality paper. There's a useful getting started guide with an extremely detailed manual. You do get a warranty card, but I wouldn't use it. Instead, if there are any issues with the printer, feel free to contact us if you purchase from 3D Workbench or Wanhao directly through their website. In addition, you'll receive a microSD and adapter, a USB cable, an adhesive hotbed sheet, and a bunch of other useful tools. All the required wiring was extremely straightforward. All I had to do was match up letters and connect a few simple pieces to set up the Duplicator i3. Everything was neatly wrapped in wire organizers and cable ties, and unlike the ANET A8 that I reviewed earlier, this machine had an on and off switch, which I found to be extremely useful. Now let's talk specs. According to Wanhao, the extruder works with PLA, ABS, PVA, NinjaFlex, and a bunch of other filaments. The hot end can reach a maximum temperature of 250 degrees Celsius, and the entire system is cooled by 2 standard fans. The printer also comes with a hotbed and a maximum print size of 20 by 20 by 18 centimeters, which is probably more than enough for most applications. This is rated for 100 degrees Celsius. As I have mentioned before, the Duplicator has an all-metal frame that looks to be extremely durable. Nothing feels or looks cheap, which is definitely a bonus. This i3 has a large LCD display with a dual-function knob and button to navigate the menus. There is some customization, but the firmware is essentially the same as other budget models. Navigating the menus was extremely easy and even pleasing. The knob felt sturdy and gave a satisfying click every time I pressed it. The menus were intuitive enough and gives you control over the basic functions of the printer. It is sometimes a bit tedious to go through the menus with only one knob and button. Having no back button means that there is a lot of scrolling involved if you're not controlling the printer through your computer. Definitely not perfect, but it is much better than other options. Another thing I didn't like was how easily the control box slid across my desk. It was difficult to press the button as the entire module would just slide back. After just 30 minutes of tinkering, I had the printer begin its first print. The only bit I was caught up on was loading the filament, but that is a common issue with budget printers. A little bit of patience and fiddling paid off and the printer was in operation. I found that the extruder and hot end didn't heat up very fast. It was tolerable, but definitely not the best, even in this price range. The homing process before the print was also extremely slow. I'm not sure if this is something that can be adjusted or is just a quirk of these printers. I started off at a steady but not too rapid pace on my first print. Everything was decently leveled, but no significant adjustment was made. I'd like to see the limits of this printer, so I'll probably explore that in a future video. I'm thinking to print 3D benchies at increasingly higher speeds and see what this thing can do. The Wanhao is currently printing a housing for a photoresistor and everything looks to be functioning well. I had to unfortunately use a brim because my filament was sticking well, but some higher quality PLA and painter's tape should fix that. The printer operated very well and was surprisingly quiet. I don't have a decibel meter on hand, but this was noticeably quieter than the ANET A8 I had played with in an earlier video. This means that you would need to house the Duplicator i3 in a separate room unless you were printing with ABS. Just an hour after unboxing the printer, I had a functional machine and a completed first print. The quality wasn't too bad, especially because the PLA I had on hand had been sitting without desiccant for a while. There was a bit of straying that could potentially have been fixed by retraction. The bubbling is from the PLA, but I'm not sure if the uneven layer lines is from the printer or the filament itself. The first layer doesn't look too bad, but the bed could have been raised a bit more. Again, I want to push the limits of the printer in the future video to really see the capabilities of this machine. The video you're watching now is more of an overview of the printer. Overall, I'm quite satisfied with the Wanhao Duplicator i3, but whether it's worth the money is very debatable. The overall product finish is definitely better than what you can get at this price. It has an all-metal body, a control box, and is basically completely assembled. The quality of the materials is superb and much better than anything I've seen. You're also completely covered with their detailed instructional manuals and essentially every tool you would ever need. So if you're looking for a printer that is working well out of the box with minimal hassle, this is probably it. But I've always been biased against assembled 3D printers, and this is why. For those getting into 3D printing, it is very important to learn the workings of these printers and understand how they work, and the best way to do that is to assemble one for yourself. For those that already own 3D printers, buying assembled printers may seem to be an attractive option, but 3D printing, especially at this budget, isn't perfect. There will be equipment failures and you may have to rewire certain things and replace certain elements, but with an assembled printer you have no knowledge of the internals, and at certain times, getting to certain components and wires can be a huge hassle. I replaced the power supply in one of these printers and it took way longer than it should have, just because everything was so cramped up inside the control box, and there were bundles of wiring that I had to navigate. I think this is a matter of opinion though, and I wouldn't let this discourage you if you're set on the Duplicator. I think it is an excellent printer and well worth your money. Thank you for watching everyone, and that concludes this printer review. If you aren't aware of what I do, I run a 3D printer shop online by the name of 3D Workbench. The Wanhao Duplicator, along with many other models, are up for sale on my website, which I'll link down below. With that said, thanks again and have a great day.